Hello! Welcome to the show. Welcome to Much Ado About Gaming. My name is Jessa Rose, and I am here to chat with you about some great options for your holiday list for this year. And I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm sorry I couldn't stream last week. I was experiencing some technical difficulties, but we are here. We are here to talk about games, and we are so excited to share what we have with you. Hello, Viper. Yes, you are first. Welcome to the show. Thank you for watching. So this week, as you can see, we are talking about games that are a little bit more heavyweight. They're a little bit more complex. They're not necessarily beginners games. If you are a beginner, you're certainly welcome to play them, but these games are really focused on the gamers who want a more complex experience. And so we've got 4 great games to talk to you, about today, and we are so excited. So yeah, welcome to the show, and let's get started. And our first game, as you can see right here, there, is Flotilla. Now, Flotilla came out last year in 2019. It was a hit. One of the designers was J.B. Howell, who also designed Gates of Mara, which we are releasing this month. I guess it's December now. I had to remember that. And we are so excited about that game releasing. But J.B. Howell also worked on this game, and it is a fantastic game. It is a 3 to 5 player game set in a future where the Earth has flooded and society has fallen apart, and people are living on these flotillas, floating in the ocean, and trying to rebuild civilization on these flotillas. The coolest thing about Flotilla is that it features 2 interconnected, distinct modes of gameplay. So, in the game, every player is going to start the game as a Sinksider, and what Sinksiders do is they get on their skiffs, get on their boats, and go explore the ocean, and try to collect things from the ocean, collect resources, and bring those resources back to the flotillas so that they can be used to help rebuild civilization. And that is how the game starts, but at any time during the game, anytime you want, you are able to say, hey, I don't want to be a Sinksider anymore. You flip all your tiles and you become a Skysider. And Skysiders are really cool because they use the resources that they've collected to build an expansive network of watercrafts and docks, and are just building out the flotillas. So the game is really cool because you have these 2 different modes of gameplay. They're 2 very different experiences, although they're similar. I'm sorry, this is getting in my face and I do not like it one bit. But they don't just, build the flotillas. They also build sonar stations to make life easier for the Sinksiders who are still out exploring the ocean. Now, you don't have to become a Skysider in Flotilla. You can, stay a Sinksider the whole game. You can keep exploring the oceans if that's your jam. If you're like, I'm gonna, do really great doing that, you can do that. But if at any time you are just like, I feel like becoming a Skysider, and you can immediately sell your skiffs, become Skysider, but you cannot go back. So once you become a Skysider, you are a Skysider for the rest of the game. So it's definitely a significant choice in the game when you want to do that, because it does change the way you're playing the game, and it will change your strategy. But no matter which side you're on, you get to grow your relationships with the 4 different governing guilds, which will each give you unique bonuses in the game. And it will also give you a more powerful crew. And at the end of the game, the player with the strongest relationships gets valuable points. So it's definitely important to grow those relationships regardless of what side you're on. In this game, you're going to find a significant amount of depth, and not just because of the ocean being deep. Haha, I like terrible jokes. Not just because of the ocean being deep, but, you'll find depth, you'll find variety. It's always a new experience because you're never going to change to Skysider, have everyone change to Skysider at the same time. So it changes every time you play, depending on your strategies. I mean, maybe you have 4 people who are like, hey, all of us are going to change to Skysider at the same time every time we play because this is our strategy. And I mean, that's a perfectly valid strategy if that's what you want to do, but it's still going to feel different every time. And that's what I really love about Flotilla. The game, like I said, is 3 to 5 players. It's $79.99, and you can pick it up at your friendly local game store. We have definitely encouraged you to shop local this holiday season, or you can pick it up in the WizKids online store at shop.wizkids.com. But yeah, that's Flotilla. Another thing I want to mention about Flotilla is we did just release another game set in the Flotilla universe. That game is Seastead. It is a 2-player game. It is a much different experience, but if you do find yourself compelled by the world of Flotilla, check that out as well. But Flotilla is a great, complex game. It's great for people who really deeply strategize and analyze everything. If you have a friend like that, or someone you're shopping for like that, this is definitely a great game to look at. So that's Flotilla. And of course, people in the chat, if you have any questions, please feel free to message them in the chat. I am watching the chat. I can see what you're asking, and I will be happy to answer if I can, if I am able. So let's move on to the next game, which is a game that, I'm sorry, I thought I heard something. A game that just came out and we're very excited for, and I'm sure you're very excited for if you're watching this show and you love our board games, and that is Sidereal Confluence Remastered! Yes! Game just came out a couple weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago. Time has kind of disappeared for me, but I think it's 2 weeks ago. But it is such a unique game. It is a fantastic game. It is a game of negotiation and trading, and it's got a lot going on, and I'm so excited to talk about it. It's for 4 to 9 players, and each player is going to choose a unique alien civilization that they would like to play as, and each civilization has, you know, unique abilities. They have a unique deck of cards, and those cards represent the existing and the future technologies that they might research. I do not have any news on HeroClix, Nicholas. I'm so sorry. Definitely keep an eye out, though, because I'm sure things will be announced very soon. But keep an eye on our social media, Twitter, Facebook, and definitely do that. And that's your best bet for HeroClix news. But like I said, each player has a unique deck of cards representing their alien civilization and that civilization's unique technologies and unique features of their culture. And I have lost my train of thought. The train has crashed. But we're back. So what you want to do in the game is you want to negotiate and discuss with other players, try to trade so that you can get better technologies for your alien civilization. Each game starts with the trading phase, where all players get to negotiate and execute deals for cubes, ships, colonies, even the temporary use of technologies. Also, V does talk about HeroClix on her show sometimes, so real quick, watch Mini Mayhem. Nicholas, I'm not sure if she's mentioning anything about HeroClix in any upcoming shows, but she does sometimes talk about HeroClix. So keep an eye on that as well. And that is Wednesdays at noon. So tomorrow at noon, you know, take a look. She might talk about it. Back to Sidereal. I'm sorry, I shouldn't clap in front of the microphone. That's a terrible idea. But once all players, you know, complete their negotiations, complete their trades, it's... I don't know if I would call it like Twilight Imperium, but it does have similar negotiation aspects to Twilight Imperium. It's really unique. It's really hard to describe. I haven't played Civ, unfortunately, so I can't compare it to that because I don't know, but I have played Twilight Imperium. And I would say that kind of some of the discussion is like Twilight Imperium, but it's definitely not a one-for-one comparison, but if you like the negotiation aspect of Twilight Imperium, you will like this. It's all negotiation, and deals are binding in this game, so once you agree to something, it's not like in other games where you have to, you have the option to take it back and say, oh, I was just kidding, yeah, you said I, could give you the cubes, but I'm not actually gonna give you the cubes, ha ha ha, I'm a mustache-twirling villain. It's not like that. You have to, you have to follow through on your deals, and that's what makes the strategy in this game really interesting, because you have to find ways to make deals that benefit you, and maybe benefit your opponents, but not too much. So that's a really cool aspect of Sidereal Confluence Remastered. but you know, you can upgrade your Galactic Society. It's an absolutely awesome game, and it's gorgeous. The new art by Kwanchai Maria on the cover is just stunning. I have a copy of it, but it's not within reach, or I would show you. Do I have it? I saw it 5 minutes ago. It's a stunning box art. You'll see when the pictures cycle around. What stunning art this is, and like when in real life, it is just breathtaking. It is so vibrant. It is gorgeous. You know, we've got a lot of new stuff going on for the new edition, and we're so excited to show you what it is. So that is out right now. You can pick it up at your friendly local game store or online at shop.wizkids.com. It is $69.99 MSRP. It plays 4 to 9 players. So it might be a little challenging, you know, in light of the pandemic. See there, look how beautiful it is. It is so pretty. When we first got the copies of it in the office, I just stared at it for like 2 or 3 minutes because I was like, wow, this is just gorgeous. And it really is. It's an amazing game, and we're so excited. But yeah, so definitely pick it up. It's great if you have someone who's a more social gamer but likes deeper games. You know, they like to negotiate and work with people. So I'm gonna say this: I'm a social deduction gamer personally. I love social deduction games. This is not a social deduction game. Let me preface by saying it's not a social deduction game. However, if you're a fan of the negotiation portion of social deduction games, and you like that, like, you know, you're playing werewolf and you like having those discussions of like, oh, well, I think you're not a werewolf or whatever, that is what, if you love that aspect of social deduction, you're really going to enjoy this game, because it has that same feeling, but it's less one-sided. It's more, you know, you're always helping yourself, and you always know what's going on even more. So definitely check this out. Sidereal Confluence Remastered Edition, out now. Pick it up, fall in love with it. It's great for someone on your list who, you know, enjoys that type of experience. And next up is a game that everyone will recognize from us, of course, and that is these miniatures. No. Well, it is these miniatures, but we are looking at Mage Knight Ultimate Edition. Mage Knight is, of course, one of the biggest games that WizKids has ever released, and we have, you know, recently released the board game in an Ultimate Edition. Not recently, but in the last year and a half, I think it was, we released it in an Ultimate Edition, and really, it's a fantastic game, and the Ultimate Edition really takes everything about Mage Knight that people loved and condenses it into one experience. So it's by Vlada, who is, of course, a prolific game designer, Mage Knight! Yes! Yes, Ed and Nicholas, we are so excited about Mage Knight Ultimate. A great game if you have someone who loves fantasy games, if you have someone who really likes RPG experiences but wants a table, I guess all RPG experiences are basically tabletop experiences, but if you want to shop for someone who is into RPGs, but maybe you want to try and throw some board games at them, or they're looking for some RPG-style board games, Mage Knight is the perfect pick. You are one of 4 powerful Mage Knights, you know, exploring the Atlantean Empire, and you are trying to build your army, fill your deck, explore, and it's such a fulfilling experience. It's so much fun. It's definitely that quintessential fantasy experience, and I feel like it's perfected into a board game. It's a combination of RPGs, deck building, and a traditional board game, so it's got everything all rolled into one big, awesome game. I'm so excited you guys are so excited about this game. We are of course very excited. It's one of our favorite games that we've ever released, and I totally forgot the word I was gonna say. It's gone. It's a great game. It is so much fun. I've said that about 6 times. That is the new awesome this week, apparently, is it's so much fun. But it is. All our games are fun. This is fun. Mage Knight is so cool. It includes Lost Legion. It includes Shades of Tesla. It includes, I forget what the other expansion is off the top of my head, Krang expansions. It includes comprehensive rules text, 5 new cards, and miniatures with alternate paint jobs. So it includes everything you could ever want out of the Mage Knight board game, all in one, not small, it's pretty big package, but it's a fantastic package. Nicholas, you are absolutely right. I definitely agree with that statement. It's a great transition game for an RPG player. Whether you're going from RPGs to tabletop or from tabletop to RPG, you know what I mean. It's great for that. And I've definitely heard from people who have had, they've been in our tabletop RPGs forever, and they were like, I want to get more into board games, and they understand the complexities of board games. This is a great place to start. It is a complex game, so if your person isn't necessarily a big complex gamer, they don't like big, crunchy, heavy games, maybe this isn't the perfect choice for them. But if you have someone who really likes the strategic and the math, and they min-max and all that in an RPG, this is a great way to start for board games. It is a quintessential, that is the word I forgot before, was quintessential. It is the quintessential, I think, fantasy RPG tabletop board game. Mage Knight is, of course, 1 to 5 players. Solo rules are included in Mage Knight Ultimate Editions. It is $124.99 MSRP, and you can pick it up at your friendly local game store or online at shop.wizkids.com. One thing I do want to mention is that, of course, there are people who they already have the Mage Knight board game, they have Shades of Tesla, they have Lost Legion, they have Krang, and they're like, I just want these 5 new cards. Can I get them? Yes, you can. You can order the 5-card expansion pack from shop.wizkids.com, and we will ship you just the 5 new cards. So it's a great way to complete your Mage Knight collection. If you already have the board game, you don't necessarily want to pick up the Ultimate Edition, that's a great way to go. And yeah, let's move on to a new game that was kind of had a quiet start, but it's a great game, and it's definitely one that you should check out and pick up for someone on your list, and that is Meeple Towers. Meeple Towers, of course, opened right on the cover. Thank you, Meeple Towers. Very helpful. So Meeple Towers came out in August, and it is a game that kind of flew under the radar, and I feel like it definitely deserved a lot more attention than it got. Hold on, sorry. It is a 2 to 4 players. 2 to 4 player abstract. I cannot talk, apparently. My brain is like, this is the last game. Time to fall apart. Not yet, brain. We gotta finish the show. It is a 2 to 4 player abstract strategy game where players are building a tower for meeples to live, work, and play. So meeples are obviously, the little people figures. They're used in a lot of board games, and meeples have kind of built a subculture around, like, they've kind of grown like a little fan base of people who just really love meeples. And if you're, if you have someone on your list who really likes, like, board game culture, I guess, I don't know if that's the term. I am getting coffee right after this, Nicholas. Don't you worry. I love coffee. I'm getting coffee immediately after this is over. But if you have, people who like board game stuff, they have, like, meeple pillows, stuff like that. This is a great game to get for them because it's all about meeples. It's all about building towers for meeples to live in. Players take turns playing action cards, and they add workers, supports, or new tiles to grow a multi-level 3D structure. And the 3D structure thing is really cool because you're building up. It's not necessarily a dexterity game, and a lot of people, were concerned when this came out that, oh, it's a dexterity game. It's not necessarily for me, but it's not a dexterity game. It has a stacking element, but it doesn't live or die by the stacking. So I'm not a dexterity person. I have the shakiest hands in the world, and I can still play this game and really enjoy it. So that's definitely something to bear in mind. You score points based on how well your supports, your structures, and how well your meeples are living. So if you like giving meeples, or you want to give them a nice life and a happy life, if you have someone who's kind of into that stuff, where it's like you like the feeling of like, oh, they're happy, I love my meeples, this is also a good game for them. It's not as big and overbearing and complex as a lot of the games I mentioned before, because again, those can be more overwhelming. But if you have someone who's starting to get into heavier games or crunchier games, and they want, you want like a next step for them, this is really good. It's really good for like board game lifers who want something new, something different. It's really cute. It is very cute. I sometimes get bored and I'll just stack the meeples on my desk, which you're not supposed to stack the meeples, but I do it. So that's also really another really fun thing about it. And the cover art is so cute. Like, I'm waiting for it to cycle back around so I can show off the cover art again. Nicholas, it depends on how old your nephew is. If he's kind of super young, you might want to be careful, because it does have small components. It does have meeples. It does have the little stacker things that I can't think of the name of. So it really depends. I think the age range on the game is technically 14 and up, but obviously use your discretion. You could play it with kids. It's a good game to get kids into heavier games. Look how cute this cover art is! The meeple is hanging from a crane! I love that! But definitely it's one of those things where I would use my discretion in terms of whether or not I think that your nephew would be comfortable playing it. I also love the little wooden hammer. The components actually are really high quality. They're wooden. So there's 101 wooden pieces included in this game in 4 different player colors. And it's really awesome. It's really substantial to hold in your hands. It's not a big game. It's not massive. It's got great table presence too, though. So it's going to be something that, looks awesome on the table when you're playing it. At 12, like I said, the recommendation on the box is, I believe, 14 and up. So if you think he would be comfortable with it at 12, definitely, that's certainly something you could try. I personally probably would, but my recommendation is to keep the age range in mind. It is 2 to 4 players. It is $44.99, and it is available now at your friendly local game store or online today. So absolutely pick it up. We have some new games coming soon, some new announcements, hopefully in the next 2 weeks, which means that for the upcoming episodes of the show, definitely keep an eye out, because I might be mentioning some new exciting board game news. But that is our last game for today that we are talking about, and I hope you enjoyed learning about all these awesome, more complex games. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Please feel free to reach out to us on our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'll be happy to help you however we can. Next week's show is games for beginners, games for people maybe who are non-gamers, and you want to get them into board games, or, you think they might be interested in. Those are the games we are going to be focusing on next week's show. I'm going to have coffee before this starting next week. I think it'll help. I hope everyone has a wonderful week. I hope you had a safe and healthy Thanksgiving. And I cannot wait to show you more board games next week. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to tune in to V's show, Mini Mayhem, tomorrow, Wednesday at noon, here on YouTube. She has a lot of great stuff going on, and I am sure you're gonna love it. So have a wonderful week, everyone. I will talk to you next week. Bye.